Bonjour, mon May. Welcome to the Underground Railroads. The Underground Railroads was an abolitionist operation that helped fugitive slaves move from the north through many houses and conductors. It's called the Underground Railroads because of the railroad slang terms they use as code to name the operators and helpers with the organization.
Today we'll be having a fantastico adventure through the Underground Railroad, taking a look at a small fraction of the many people involved in the organization. We will be focusing on Levi Coffin,
Harriet Tubman,
and John Fairfield. First, we'll take a look at Levi Coffin, a Southern-born Quaker also known as the president of the Underground Railroad. Besides being an abolitionist, he was a leading merchant, farmer, and a major investor and director for the Bank of Indiana. This is where he gained the funds necessary to supply food, clothing, and transportation for the Underground Railroad operations in his region. Levi Coffin's Newport home is called the Grand Central Station for the Underground Railroad. This was because it was a major resting point for slaves moving in from Madison, New Albany, and Cincinnati. It serviced as a resting place for thousands of slaves. To move the slaves from place to place, wagons designed to hold precious cargo were used to transport them, using the cover of night.
Well, that was a cool segue.
Ooh, you suck!
Let's go to our next cool adventure person, Harriet Tubman. Yeah. Harriet Tubman, but you can call her Black Moses. It's okay because it says so in the American Pageant History textbook. After numerous masters, one of which gave her a brain injury, her abolitionist career started after previous masters, Anthony and Mary Thompson, turned their heads long enough for her to escape. Using the cover of night, the Northern Star, and the Underground Railroads, Tubman helped friends, family, and some unidentified travelers across the Canadian border. One of the things that made the journey across the border was the fugitive slave law. The larger reward for runaway slaves increased the number of slave hunters that they had to look out for. However, that didn't sway her, as she was also known for never losing a single passenger. In the late 1850s, Harriet was introduced to John Brown. She admired his ideas and helped him plan and recruit the raid on Harper's Ferry.
The last person is the most eccentric out of them all, going to extreme lengths, like pretending to be someone else for months in order to sneak slaves into the Underground Railroad. John Fairfield went through every slave state, even staying there for months at a time, posing as a slaveholder to gain trust of the town. For 12 years, he put on various personas, up until the Civil War, when he mysteriously disappeared. The big question is, why should we care? I mean, slavery isn't legal in America anymore. At least in the way we think of it. And the underground networks, like the Underground Railroad, don't really exist anymore. It shouldn't matter what happened in the past, should it?
Well, looky here, Mr. Silly Goose. Today, millions of Mexican immigrants are passing the border to the Promised Land, America. Much like Tubman, seasonal farmer laborers travel back and forth to help others to cross. Also to help end illegal crossing, we made the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, IRCA, which acts just like the Fugitive Slave Law did in 1850.
So the railroads are still alive today, just with a different group of people.
Exactly.
And his name is John C.